Hello, my name is Dylan, but you can call me Buttercup. Welcome to Buttercup Yarn Art, a soft-spoken video journal where I play with yarn and share my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you'd like to see more, please subscribe. If there's anything you'd like to hear me talk about, please leave a comment to let me know. The pattern I am working on is still the Sorrel Sweater by Wool & Pine, and as you can see, I've finished both of the sleeves. I am very excited to finish the whole thing. I am getting closer, and I've kind of noticed that now that the sleeves are finished, my brain is kind of going, well, aren't we done now? We did the sleeves. Which is not true, but, having the sleeves done kind of makes it feel like the whole thing should be done. And I can kind of feel my brain wanting to be finished with the whole thing and getting a little frustrated that I'm not. I am getting close, and it won't be too much longer. I don't think I'm going to make the June 20th deadline from the knit-along, but it won't be very much longer after that, or it shouldn't be anyway. But I am still enjoying the process, and I'm looking forward to having the finished sweater to wear. And today is Worldwide Knitting in Public Day. And this video is actually my participation because I don't want to go outside today. But I kind of figure, putting up a public video online of knitting really ought to count as knitting in public. So this is my participation. I knit in public a lot anyway, so, and that's actually what I want to talk about today, is knitting in public. It's really interesting, the kinds of things that happen when you're knitting in public. It's a real conversation starter. I have spoken to so many fellow knitters just because we happen to be in the same public place while I am knitting. I recently had to bring my mom to a doctor's appointment, and while I was in the waiting room, someone else who was also waiting saw me working on this and said, "Oh, is that a sweater?" And we started talking, and it turns out she crochets. And, she was saying, like, "Oh, I don't make anything so complicated as a sweater." And I said, "So? You make things. That's enough." You enjoy the process. You like what you make. Who cares that it's not a sweater? And, that happens not every time, but it happens a lot. I had an old job, I think I've talked about it before, where I had a lot of downtime and a lot of freedom with what to do with that downtime. and I would do a lot of knitting while I was there. And, you know, by nature of the job, I would be there late at night when the cleaning crews would come into the offices. And, you know, I got pretty friendly with them. And one of the ladies who happened to be cleaning the area that I would sit in really loved seeing what I was working on. And, you know, she would ask me about what I was making, tell me about the things that she would make, and it was really, really nice getting to, you know, have that connection just really late at night when nobody else was there, and, you know, she was getting started for the night and only would see one or two other people the whole time she was at work. And, you know, it was really nice for us both. And, you know, I also will see other people knitting or crocheting in public. And it's, even if we don't speak, it's this connection of, you know, seeing someone who loves the same thing that I love out in the world. I was on the subway once. I didn't have any knitting with me, but I was sitting across from this woman who was knitting very intently on the other side of the car. You know, she was using like super jumbo yarn and really big needles. And I didn't really see what exactly she was making, but, you know, just the whole time on that ride, I was watching her make whatever it was. It might have been a sweater or a blanket, I'm not sure. But she was working very intently. And every so often she would pause to look at something on her phone and go back to it. And I don't think the entire ride she noticed me watching her. But I was tired, and it was the end of a day, and I didn't have the energy to go up and say, "Hey, what are you working on? That's really cool." But it was really nice seeing her working on that on the train. You know, it made my fingers kind of itch to want to pick up my own project. And, you know, even non-knitters and non-crocheters will ask me about what I'm doing. You know, they'll say, "Oh, is that knitting? What are you making? That's really cool. How'd you learn to do that?" "Oh, I wish I could do that." "Don't drop the stitch." And, you know, I always say it's not difficult. It's not hard to learn. There's lots of resources online. You don't have to get any expensive fancy tools. All that. And I don't know if anyone I've talked to about it has picked up knitting or crochet as a result of our conversation. But I like to hope that at least one person did. And I like to hope that even if someone didn't talk to me, if they saw me doing it, they wondered and maybe looked up later how to knit. You know? I hope I've inspired at least someone to try something new. And, you know, that's kind of why I like these knitting meetups. It's because I like talking about what I'm making. I like talking about knitting. And I like, you know, conversations that come up because, you know, we both know how to do this really cool thing. And we want to talk about it. My grandma taught me to crochet. And in recent years, she hasn't done it so much, but she has this project that she's been wanting to finish for a long time. And every time I see her, I bring my knitting along to show her. And she talks about this project. And I encourage her, my mom encourages her to pick it up again, to start working on it. And she has everything she needs. She has it ready. She just needs to do it. And I hope that she will soon. And I've offered, you know, if she has trouble remembering the stitches, I've offered to be there and help out if she wants. To, you know, help her if she needs, like she helped me to learn. She doesn't want to do anything fancy with it, but she keeps hesitating. And I think she's kind of lost her confidence, but I really hope that I can get her to finish it at least. Because I think once she picks it up and gets working, she'll want to keep doing it. And she'll want to do more things. And I think it'll be really good for her to get back into it. Maybe one of these days, if I can get her working on her knitting again, I can convince her to come knit in public with me. Go to a park and find a bench. Just sit and knit together and watch the people pass by. I think that would be really lovely. So, happy Worldwide Knitting in Public Day. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. And I hope you have a wonderful day.